The airline staff who I have spoken to, who dealt with Meghan Markle, who directly served Meghan Markle on long-haul flights, have told me directly that she was a complete to them, that she treated the staff absolutely appallingly. Okay, so in just one moment, I am going to expose Meghan Markle and this scam involving an American Airlines flight attendant. I'm going to tell you from personal experience what I know about how Meghan really treats staff in flight. But before that, Brittany, editor of the Royal News Network, joins me now, and we have to kick off, Brittany, with this Instagram video. Let's watch this as we talk along. We're meant to believe, Brittany, that this is Meghan and Lilibet beekeeping, and it just feels yet again another attempt to pimp out her children for commercial reasons to distract from everything else that's going on. What did you make of it?
I mean, Dan, I looked at it and I was like, what is the point of this video? Besides to, I guess, show off Lilibet and that they both like beekeeping. But maybe it is definitely to distract from the fact that Meghan has dropped from 3 million followers to 2.9 million on Instagram. I think much of her content is not hitting with audiences. And so pimping out her kids, you could say, bringing them out is one way to try to gain some attention, but it looks really pointless and potentially actually quite dangerous. She's a young child next to a hive of bees. That could be actually a potential disaster there unfolding. But who knows if there was even really any bees there, or if this is just entirely for show. And I would not be surprised if that was the case.
It's for show. Look, my auntie's a beekeeper, and I remember when she first saw the color of Meghan's outfit, it was just so obvious. This is not someone who actually keeps bees, Brittany. They are pristine. They are completely white. And there's loads of other telltale signs at the time as well. But I just feel like, oh my God, how weird do you have to be? Okay, so your latest technique to cover up Lilibet's face, which we've actually seen loads of times before, is to dress her up like an alien? It's like, how weird is this?
It's so weird. And it's just like there's music playing over it. It just is so bizarre. There's nothing deeper to this. It was an entirely pointless exercise, I think, and just a way to put some content out there. But like if she was showing us actually working with her beehives, I could see that. But this was just useless.
Oh, she doesn't do it herself. She doesn't do it herself. No. And it's like, let's dress the daughter up as an alien now. Oh my God, it's like things just get weirder by the day.
Meghan Markle gets filmed on a commercial American Airlines flight. A big switch from her usual private jet life. A flight attendant posts a TikTok calling Meghan so beautiful and the Queen, and shares a handwritten note Meghan supposedly gave the crew, saying, "All love forever, Meg." Sound wholesome? Think again. Dan Wooten and royal expert Brittany say this entire interaction reeked of pre-approved PR staging. Meghan didn't ditch private jets for the planet. She ran out of rich friends with access to one. So she flew commercial and saw a PR opportunity.
But, Brittany, I've got to talk through this air hostess situation. Okay, so in case people haven't followed the story, this was, well, let's look at the People headline because this was the official PR spin version of it. Handwritten notes on napkins plus a manicure compliment with flight crew girlies. American Airlines flight attendant Nina Vida shared the message penned by the Duchess of Sussex. And page 6, Brittany, they said that this was a sweet handwritten note to flight crew that goes viral after she ditches private jet to fly commercial. Meghan Markle opted for a commercial flight instead of a private jet ride, and the American Airlines girlies will never forget it. Flight attendant Nina Vida gushed to her TikTok followers Thursday about recently having the pleasure of serving the Duchess of Sussex. In a now viral video filmed in her uniform, Vida called the suit's star 43 so sweet and so beautiful in person. Now, Brittany, there are so many flaws in this story, but can we pick up the most obvious one first? Meghan hasn't chosen to ditch private jet flights. She simply can't afford it at the moment, can she? She doesn't have enough mugs who are prepared to waste all that money.
Exactly. She has many times utilized her friends in order to leverage their private
Yes.
jets. I feel like that's half of her friendships are, do you have a private jet or not? Oh, great. I'm your best friend now. So in this case, she didn't have access to that. And I'm sure she hated every single second of having to hang out with the peasants in her mind. And I'm sure even though she might have complimented the flight attendant, given her a quote unquote sweet note, I'm sure the entire time Meghan was thinking, oh gosh, I hate every single second of being served by just somebody who serves anybody in first class. You know, I'm the Duchess of Sussex. That's 100% Meghan's thought process. This was not a choice she made. She was forced to just simply take, like most of us do, a commercial flight. And other royals do too. They take commercial flights.
Oh, totally. But not our Miss Markle, the Queen in her own mind. But look, this was the video. There's lots of issues with this video, though, but this was the issue that Nina Vida, the flight attendant, posted on TikTok.
I believe who I just had on my flight, who I had a pleasure of serving. The Queen, the Princess, the Duchess of Sussex.
Doesn't understand how titles work.
Meghan Markle was on my flight, and she's so beautiful in person. She was so sweet. She wrote us a little handwritten note back. So rewrote her note that said, "It's a pleasure of serving you. We love you real bad." And she wrote this note back that says, "Dear AA girlies, thank you for the love, hospitality, and handwritten note. You know me well. All love right back to you." And then I think it says, "Forever, Meg." You know, I can barely read this cursive, but look at this handwriting. Is giving rich. It's giving expensive. It's giving princess. He also said she loved my nails, and the captain on my last flight said they were intense. So, sir, it doesn't matter what you think. The Queen says she likes them.
Okay, Brittany, so there's so much to pull apart with this video. Let me go through some of the reaction. The Royal Rogue posted, flight attendant shares a note from Meghan traveling in commercial disclosing private passenger information on TikTok, no less. But American Airlines directives on passenger identities is ironclad. So unless this was carefully planned and confirmed as a PR stunt, the flight attendant in question 100% knows she's getting fired, because this would mean that for any other VIP flying with American Airlines, their information and flight experience could end up on TikTok. Care to comment? American Airlines. And the Queer Lips of Truth, responding to all of the MSM coverage, said, can the British press actually ask the decent question? When is Meghan Markle going to file an invasion of privacy lawsuit against this woman? Or is the lawsuit only for her own father? It is literally the exact same type of scenario. What's different here? Oh, wait, yes, this one is a publicity stunt.
Here's where it all crashes down. Dan says he's spoken directly with long-haul airline staff who dealt with Meghan, and they called her an absolute, their words not mine. She allegedly treated them like peasants while demanding royal-level service. So why the sudden love note to flight attendants' energy? Because Meghan knew stories were coming out, and tried to sugarcoat her image before they hit. It's PR damage control 101.
And Brittany, I actually pulled the American Airlines directive because I just wanted to be absolutely certain. I mean, I had no doubt that what the Royal Rogue was saying was true because he's obviously brilliant, but I just wanted to see it for myself. And let me take you through the key lines, Brittany. American Airlines, like other major carriers, operates under strict privacy policies regarding the handling of passenger information, including the identities of VIP or high-profile passengers. These policies are designed to comply with legal requirements and industry standards for data protection and privacy. Privacy policy and staff conduct includes American Airlines' official privacy policy, emphasizes the protection of personal information for all passengers, stating that they collect, use, share, and protect such information in connection with bookings and travel forward. The policy covers both online and offline interactions and applies to all services, including in-flight operations. And here's the key line, Brittany. There is no provision for staff to disclose the identities of VIP passengers to other passengers or third parties without a legitimate operational or legal reason. And Brittany, there was no operational or legal reason. This was a PR stunt. This was approved by Meghan Markle. I have no doubt about it. Do you?
No, I mean, she always is looking for the PR stunt. She's always looking for a way to sort of soften her image, but she can't help herself. It goes too far. And in this case, it just looks a little bit ridiculous. I mean, why are you passing notes to flight attendants? That's a little odd. It would be much better to have like just a simple conversation or something like that. But I could also see it in this media age where sometimes people are like, oh, I'm like so excited, so I'm just going to show this and, disregard the consequences. But at the same time, we know everything Meghan does is calculated, and we know she's always looking for the in. And she's always, especially sometimes in public situations, really trying to make herself seem so sweet and lovely and wonderful and amazing and all these sorts of things. And having a flight attendant gush over her, and I mean, you almost question if she's really a flight attendant or not, because it's so overly ridiculous. But at the same time, it's totally something where it's a complete and utter publicity stunt, and it's not really going to fool anybody at this point. So, but it's definitely par for the course for Meghan.
Indeed. Now, Brittany, I've actually been working on a bit of a story which I'm going to reveal in a couple of weeks' time. But as part of that story, I have specifically been speaking to, I'm not going to reveal the airline yet, but staff of a commercial airline that Meghan Markle previously flew on. Now, I absolutely have to stress that these staff members approached me, not the other way around. But I believe that their version of events about what happened on board this particular flight is of real interest to something that I've been looking into involving Meghan Markle. However, it's obviously relevant to this story. And Brittany, let me tell you, the airline staff who I have spoken to, who dealt with Meghan Markle, who directly served Meghan Markle on long-haul flights, have told me directly that she was a complete bitch to them, that she treated the staff absolutely appallingly. So there is no way that what this American Airlines staff member is now telling us links up, Brittany, to her previous behavior on flights, which again makes me believe that this is a PR stunt.
Well, and maybe she knows even that this whole thing is going on with the people you're talking with, and she's trying to combat it already. Meghan Markle knows she's on stage quite a bit, but she's also completely willing to be awful to people when it serves her. But when she needs, let's say, an in, or maybe she knows she's not popular in the UK. She's hit her lowest popularity. And what is one of the first things she does is have a nice interaction with a flight attendant, hoping that helps. Well, you might have had a nice interaction with one or two people, but that doesn't negate the horrible things you've done to everybody else. She's only nice when it serves herself. And then when she can be her true self, it seems to be, according to most reports, Meghan is just awful to people. She's just terrible to them, treats them like dirt, because she's the Duchess of Sussex, or even before then, she thought she was hot stuff being on Suits. And she's always behaved this way. And it's not a surprise at all that you have more stories to tell on that.
Indeed. So you're completely right. This is an attempt for Meghan Markle to show to the world, I'm kind to the people on these flights before the real story comes out. And it is a PR stunt, well and truly, because we know, Brittany, we absolutely know that People magazine did not run this story without the nod from Team Meghan. We know that they were not going to risk this flight attendant being sacked unless it had the tacit approval from Team Meghan. So the whole thing is a publicity stunt. Oh, can I just say one other thing, Brittany, by the way? I forgot to mention it about Lilibet and the beekeeping outfit. If we just look at that video again and those pictures again, because I'm also told, by the way, from someone who knows, that Lilibet's hat is not properly adjusted on her head. And that would actually put her, if there were truly bees, right, if she truly was dealing with bees, that would actually put her at serious risk of being stung. So again, I almost feel like we're dealing with a double PR stunt here because the hat's not properly on.
Meanwhile, on Instagram, Meghan posted the weirdest thing. Her and baby Lilibet dressed like beekeepers next to a hive. But experts say the outfit wasn't even safe for real bees. The hat wasn't secured. There may not have even been bees. As Dan said, this looked less like a hobby and more like a prop for social media. And it's hard not to see it as yet another stunt, especially with Meghan's follower count reportedly dropping on Instagram. Royal commentator Brittany nailed it. Meghan is only sweet when the camera's rolling, or when she needs something. Otherwise, she's been called cold, manipulative, and even abusive towards staff. So this TikTok moment with the flight crew? Total theater. She knew it would go viral. She knew it would soften her image. And she counted on People magazine to run it exactly the way she wanted.
And I mean, I'm not even surprised at all that Meghan would put her own kids in danger in order to get the best social media moment. That's, in my opinion, that's the kind of parent that she is, that their safety or their feelings or whatever comes secondary to, oh, I need the perfect video for Instagram because my Instagram is failing and I need to. The kids are going to be the ticket. And so I think she's probably going to put more pressure on the kids. We're going to see the kids more and more because she sort of needs to bolster her sort of flagging brand. It's sort of failing. It's flopping.
Yes, indeed. Now, how to deal with that flop, Brittany, is the question that is obviously plaguing both Harry and Meghan. So again, we have some quite carefully briefed information over the weekend to Charlotte Griffiths of the Mail on Sunday to, I mean, I can't really believe this, but why the Montecito model of the firm is a vital step towards the Duke's rehabilitation. And so effectively, Brittany, and we will go through the details, but the overall of this story from Charlotte Griffiths is that Harry and Meghan have now put together a royal court. They've been accused of hypocrisy, by the way, given how much they decried life in the firm, with experts now ridiculing this new group as expensive bureaucrats trying to save their brand. But this court is effectively now in place to try and save Harry and Meghan from themselves. So we'll go into the individuals involved in this, Brittany, in just one moment. But what do you make of this overall claim from the Mail on Sunday that this is the start of Prince Harry's rehabilitation? And can I just ask, why is the mainstream media, especially the Daily Mail, which Prince Harry despises so much and is currently suing, by the way, why are they so desperate to constantly try and rehabilitate Prince Harry? I just don't get it.
I'm not sure either, but when it comes to this article, it's actually really fascinating because Harry and Meghan claim, well, if we can get all these people around us, if we can hire more PR people, if we can have this system that works like the royals, that this will fix all the problems. Because they're both talking about Harry and Meghan. Obviously, Harry, I think, is really reeling from his catastrophic fall from grace in terms of the popularity polls. I think that's hitting him really, really hard. But the problem has never been the people Harry and Meghan hire. The problem is Harry and Meghan. It's always consistently been them. Harry, I'm sure, was told, hey, maybe going on the BBC right after you lose this court case and whining about it is probably not the best idea. Harry did it anyways. Well, Meghan, maybe it's not the best idea to include this moment where you're sort of mocking the Queen and Netflix, but they included it anyways. Harry and Meghan are their own worst enemies. They are the problem. Unless they fix themselves, no matter how many competent people they hire, they're still going to be in this toxic, negative rut with their media exposure because all the actions are the public's reaction to them is the result of their own actions.
Very true. Very, very good point. Let me take you through some of the Charlotte Griffiths reporting. So she's talking about Meredith Kendall Maines, a seasoned communications strategist whose role has already drawn comparisons with Sir Clive Alderton, the formidable private secretary to King Charles and Queen Camilla, will be at the helm of a team of 11 operating out of Montecito, California and the UK. Why? They hate us? Like, why? But anyway, the new operation will be run separately to Archewell, the Sussex's philanthropic foundation. The MOS can reveal the restructuring, which will see each senior appointee reportedly earning a six-figure salary, will include the Duke and Duchess each having their own chief of staff, Harry launching his own as yet undisclosed commercial venture in the next few months, Meghan's lifestyle business as ever expanding its range of products later this year. The Duke is said to have been growing increasingly wary of the negative publicity he and Meghan have attracted, particularly in the UK, where he's been fighting several legal cases over his privacy and security. Last night, a source told the Mail on Sunday a royal household-style structure will give them both a streamlined framework that has been missing since they left the royal family. The recent polling showing that Harry is one of the lowest regarded royals means he has at last conceded there's nowhere to go but up. There's a humility there. It's time to streamline his operation and find a new way of getting his message across. Service above oneself is the cornerstone of everything he does. Previously, the Sussexes relied on informal advisors, but the hope is that by following the same trusted methods as the monarchy, they will be able to safeguard their reputation and build their business and philanthropic efforts. One of the first tasks of the operation will be to mastermind the launch of Harry's own commercial venture as he attempts to find new purpose after stepping away from his African charity Centre Bali amid bullying accusations by its chair. While it's understood the prince will continue to focus on the Invictus Games Foundation, he is also said to have commercial ideas of his own, the details of which will be revealed later this year. A source said Harry is unkindly described as the spare to Meghan's endeavours. In reality, he has been giving her the space to flourish. Now it is his time to throw himself into exciting new work. Invictus will always come first, but he has also been working on commercial ideas of his own. Last night, a spokesman for the couple said the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have retained the support of Method Communications to support their growing business portfolio and philanthropic efforts, serving as an extension of the Sussex communications team led by Chief Communications Officer Meredith Maines.
To make things even more desperate, Harry and Meghan are now building their own royal court in Montecito. That's right. They've hired a full team, PRs, brand consultants, even Obama campaign staffers, all in a last-ditch effort to salvage their brand. They're calling it the Montecito model of the firm. But real talk? You can hire a palace. But if the royals inside it are clueless and toxic, it still crumbles. Dan breaks down the list. 11 people. Political veterans, branding experts, ex-UD talent agents. All now working for the most unmanageable duo in modern media. How long will they last? Based on Meghan's history? Not long.
So, Brittany, as far as I'm concerned, how I view this is, number one, more PR spin. Nothing is fundamentally changing, apart from the fact that Harry, despite this ludicrous claim that he still puts service above oneself as the cornerstone of everything he does, actually is clearly being ordered by Meghan Markle to go back to work, because this idea that she's going to make all of the money and he is going to focus on the charity pursuits just clearly hasn't worked.
That's 100% correct, Dan. I didn't even catch on to that, but great thought there, because we had been told that they were going down separate paths. Meghan was going to be an entrepreneur and Harry a philanthropist. So clearly, if they're switching gears a bit and he has his own commercial endeavors and is going to throw himself into another business, I think we can infer that As Ever is not going as well as Meghan wants it to go. I mean, she's having supply chain issues, I guess, and, which she should have figured out before launching the brand, but she rushed it. And so it's sort of a mess. And then we have sort of mediocre products and a small batch. So I would guess she actually probably hardly made any money from her initial launch, to be quite honest. I would not be surprised if she made only tens of thousands of dollars, because she had such a small batch. She had to pay people to facilitate and everything. But another thing I thought was really interesting in that piece is Harry talking about how he needs a different way to share his message. Well, when it comes to his security case, I'm sorry, Harry, there's no good way to share that message, because essentially what he's saying is that he wants everybody to use their taxpayer dollars to pay for his security. And nobody's interested in that. He needs to let it go. I think some of his battles are just simply those in his mind. They're completely unwinnable to the public. He needs to let them go and move on. And that's one of the bigger problems with them. It's not always that you need to change up your messaging. It's that the message itself is bad. And that, I think, is the case for Harry and his commercial endeavors. I don't know.
Well,
Obviously, podcasts had a thought about him.
I was going to
Or
say.
Spotify.
We know what Spotify view of the idea of Harry's commercial endeavors. And effing grifter, because every single idea they put forward to him, he found a reason for it not to work. And the only thing he ever seems to want to talk about is the Invictus Games. And with all the will in the world, you're not going to be able to commercialize that any further than he already has, certainly from a media perspective. By the way, this is just looking at who's who in the household, just in case people want to see them all. So we've got Meredith Kendall Maines, so she effectively seems to be the boss. Sarah Fosno is going to be the chief of staff. She's the former aide to Bill Gates. You've got Charlie Gibson, who is now serving as the Sussex's press office. He's a branding corporate guy. Erin Grant, she is a former Silicon Valley PR firm exec that worked with tech disruptors. She's going to act as a liaison between the household and Meghan's As Ever lifestyle brand. Casey Adams, she's another brand person who's going to be working with As Ever. Miranda Barbeau, seasoned political and media strategist. She is now serving as Harry's chief of staff. She played a key role in Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign. Liam Maguire, he's the poor soul who has to oversee the Sussex's media messaging and PR operations in the UK. Kyle Balua, he moved from United Talent Agency to join Archwell, now formerly part of the household. Clay Blackham, he is the marketing guy, will help to bridge the Sussex's messaging with the Duchess's lifestyle brand. And Melissa Calamon is the head of As Ever. Can I just say, Brittany, to all of these poor souls, good luck. You have the hardest job in the world. How many of them, Brittany, will be there in 3 months? How many of them will be there in 6 months? How many will be there in 12 months? If Meghan Markle's track record is anything to go by, I'd say, probably 20-30%. The rest will be bullied out. They'll find this job impossible. And unfortunately, they are now working with one of the most toxic brands in the world. So I'm very surprised, especially from the guys who've left UTA to go and work for that. But I guess there's still that pull and that draw of celebrity.
She's burned through more staff than any other royal. And Harry? Still chasing lawsuits and podcast flops. Hiring a new team doesn't fix the real problem. Them. And just when Harry needs support the most, Catherine's brother James releases a beautiful quote about how close he is to his sisters, calling them his lifeline. It's genuine, warm, loving. Meanwhile, Harry is estranged from William, the entire royal family, and even his old friends. This isn't just PR failure. It's personal failure.
And the six-figure salary, too. that they're having to pay everyone now.
I'm sure their salary is playing let's say, benefits to the position, but this is an impossible role. Again, Harry and Meghan are their own worst enemies. And so it's really hard to manage people who don't listen to sound advice. And we have heard multiple times that Harry and Meghan are given good advice. And when they should make decision A, they always seem to make decision B. And so these people have an impossible task because unless Harry and Meghan start actually really listening to their teams, they're just going to end up in the same rut the entire time. And I think the other big problem here with Harry and Meghan have is that they have yet to show us a lack of talent in anything they've done post-Brexit. Every cent they've earned pretty much is off the backs of dragging his family. And so without that, they have yet to prove they're good producers, good authors, good podcasters, really good brand managers, good at anything at this point. And so they're basically coasting off the fumes of those titles. And no matter how many PR people they hire, Harry and Meghan have to have talent at the base of that, and they have yet to exhibit that to any of us. And so I think no matter how many great people they have, they're still probably going to fail at this point.
Now, Brittany, in stark contrast to the Sussexes, who can't even keep any members of their family on board. I mean, Doria even seems totally over Meghan at the moment. Catherine, the Princess of Wales' brother, James, has spoken out in the British media over the weekend, and it really is lovely stuff. He told the Daily Mirror, "I'm incredibly fortunate to have my two sisters, not just as siblings, but as friends. They've seen me at my best and at my lowest. and they've always been there when I've needed them. Sibling love is something unique. You can't choose your siblings. It can be complicated. It takes work. But when it's strong, I believe it's one of the most powerful bonds there is. And I mean, I say amen to that. I am so close. I've got one sister, my younger sister, Ash, who actually is part of Outspoken. She works for Outspoken in New Zealand, and she is just, I mean, we are so close. We're like best friends. We're super, super close. So I agree with every single thing that James talks about, that bond. But of course, it's very hard, Brittany, to read these words and not think that there is some type of message there to Harry in terms of how he's treated William.
I mean, you can definitely read into that. The Middletons are really close to William. I have read a good chunk of James's book, and he is very close to his sisters. He sings their praises the entire time. He talks about how wonderful they are, how when he was going through his depression that they would come sometimes to his sessions, and that Catherine and William's interest in helping people who are having, young people who are having mental health issues, that Catherine was very, very engaged in the entire process and really wanted to help, and that his sisters would constantly be reaching out to him, inviting him to things when he was lonely and didn't really have anybody else in his life at that point. They were constantly trying to bring them into their homes to just help support him. There's so much love there between that family. And I think that was a huge chunk of William's attraction to Catherine, is that deep family bond. And I would not be surprised as at this point, William would say, well, I'm closer to James as my brother-in-law than I am to my own brother. And Harry is the one responsible for that. Only Harry has himself to blame there. And I think William has leaned so much on the Middletons because they are actually a steady rock foundation for him. Whereas Harry, I think even for most of their life, has been sort of a chaotic presence. And William just loves, I think, the Middleton clan so much because of what they've offered him.
Bottom line, Meghan's note on a napkin won't save her. The beekeeping costume, the viral videos, the hand-picked PR team, none of it can cover up the damage already done. The public isn't buying the act anymore. She burned too many bridges. And no flight attendant TikTok can change that now. Alright folks, if you agree this whole thing smells like pure PR spin, hit that like button, subscribe for more no-fluff royal reactions, and drop a comment. Do you think Meghan's kindness was real, or just another stunt to reset the narrative?